speak, the members who have just both have left the chambers to go back. His Excellency the Governor General, and then come back in to government headquarters and the National Assembly for the throne speech and the continuation of the proceedings here. You're live with ZIZ Radio and Television, also Sugar City Rock and Win FM. We say good morning to you and welcome to the formal opening session of the new Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Perhaps, Junie, if we could just give a brief outline of the successes of Sir Cuthbert Sebastian.
Absolutely.
Sir Cuthbert Montraville Sebastian was born on the 22nd of October 1921 and attended the Bastia Boys Elementary School. He was a pupil teacher at the Bastia Boys Elementary School and joined the Cunningham Hospital staff as a learner dispenser later in 1939. He qualified as a licensed chemist and druggist in 1943 and a lab technician, in 1944. He was then appointed as senior dispenser and steward or hospital administrator in 1945 and later went to Canada to study medicine, where he obtained a Bachelor of Science at Mount Allison University. Later, he entered the Dalhousie Medical School and graduated from that school with Doctor of Medicine and Master of Surgery in 1958. He returned to St. Kitts later in that year and joined the government medical service as a general practitioner. He also worked in every district in St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. And indeed, we all know Dr. Sebastian is quite a popular physician. Myself, as a child, was able to benefit from some of his care.
Well, not you alone, Wanda. I also benefited from his care as well. He was the family doctor at a given point in time.
Right.
Yes.
Quite a popular and renowned physician.
Absolutely.
And so later in 1967, he took up his position when the General Hospital, the Josephine France Hospital, was opened. He became its first medical superintendent and obstetrician gynecologist. And so we have with us here now Sir Cuthbert Sebastian, serving as the Governor General of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, coming through ranks as a medical doctor, as a military person, and serving in a wide range of other community service areas over the years.
Absolutely. And as we look inside the National Assembly chambers this morning, in the public gallery section, we can see members of the Diplomatic Corps. We see Her Excellency Madam Marietta Leao, the Cuban ambassador, also the representatives of the People's Action Movement. We see the chairman of the private sector, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Aberis. We see the chairman of the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, Mr. Rudy Morton. We see members from the media houses, Val Thomas from Sugar City Rock, Gus Williams from 94.1.
We also have a few permanent secretaries with us, Junior. I see Mr. Raphael Archibald, I see Mr. Newton, I see Mr. Petty. Mm-hmm. I'm also seeing Mr. Halliday in the audience with us today, and the commissioner, the labor commissioner, is here with us as well.
And, you know, it's a very interesting mix of people here because they're also regular rank and file people here as well. And this is very good because the Assembly, what happens in the National Assembly is of paramount importance to not only people from the highest rank in society, but to the smallest and lowest rank. And looking outside now, we can see the Governor General's car. The official car is just making its way down Church Street. He's flanked by outriders, motorcycle outriders from the police force, and he's being sent to a particular area where he will be greeted by a police officer and then ascend the dais to inspect the troops, the contingent that has been drawn up outside, comprised of Defence Force personnel and the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force.
He is about to be escorted from his vehicle now, Junie, and we see his ADC. About to escort him from his vehicle to ascend the dais.
Right. So this is part of the proceedings in the first session of Parliament following a general election, and this is what happens whenever election takes place. So this would be the third opening session of Parliament like this for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, who are now entering their third successive term in Parliament. The Governor-General is being escorted to the area where he will do the inspection and then proceed and come up the stairs of Government Headquarters to Parliament, where he will deliver the throne speech. He now mounts the dais which was erected outside Government Headquarters with the colors of the national flag, and the inspection will proceed. You're live on ZIZ Radio and television, Win FM, Sugar City Rock, and I'm sure 94.1 also joining to carry this formal session, the opening ceremony for National Assembly 2004.
It's quite a colorful display outside, though, Junie, and I think that one of the amazing things for me has always been looking at our armed forces in official uniform. The blend of color that I think portrays very eloquently our national flag colors, so the white, the black, and so on, the green, and the red. And I think that it is always a remarkable sight to see our police force and defense force on display in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh, definitely. And perhaps the time has come, though, to look again at especially the on-the-beat policemen changing their uniform somewhat, because the uniform does go back to a colonial time of our history. And we would want, take for instance, I've traveled to the Bahamas and see the policemen, they're in shorts.
That's right.
Also in New York during the summertime. And perhaps the time has come to really look at changing the thick uniform wear of the police and defense force to make it more compatible with our climate.
I would think that is very appropriate, and especially because our police officers, I find, are so vigilant on the streets every day, patrolling, making sure that things are in order, and I'm sure they get very hot. I think that you're right, Junie. There should be some consideration to perhaps adjusting their attire.
We might also have to look at adjusting the attire of the speaker, the wig. That is also part of our colonial relic, colonial period, and I'm sure being under a wig, if you're going to be in a National Assembly for 5 or 6 hours, could be very uncomfortable.
Well, I know from the youth parliamentarians when I worked with them, it gets very hot under there, so I know Marcelo would be, sweating itchy a little bit, and very itchy, very itchy.
Yes. Well, the Governor-General is now, you're not missing anything, the Governor-General is now inspecting the Guard of Honor drawn up outside, and he's now moving to the Royal St. Kitts Nevis Police Force, and doing an excellent job as usual. A very proud national of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, a distinguished career in the medical field, as you pointed out, also in community service, and now serving at the highest level as the Governor-General of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Sir Cuthbert Montraville Sebastian.
He is now in the dais awaiting, I guess, a formal salute before he leaves to enter the government headquarters to come upstairs to the chambers where we will again proceed, and he will deliver his throne speech.
Yes. And meanwhile, inside government headquarters, the gallery, the public gallery, people are just really chewing the fat, as we say, and talking about perhaps the morning's proceedings and what to expect in this session of Parliament and in this term of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government. People are just sitting and sharing ideas, suggestions perhaps, and looking forward to the return of the elected and non-elected representatives to Parliament to hear what the Governor-General has in store for us for the next 5 years.
I'm also seeing, sitting in the chambers, Junie, I see some members of the Young Labour group, and they're quite into some discussion. They are, perhaps budding politicians. I I'm certain that they have been quite amused by what has happened here this morning. And one of the things that I see our young people continue to mimic, even our youth parliamentarians, is the manner in which the politicians, or rather the ministers of government, sit and associate in the official chambers. And I